Hello, my name is Dan Richardson and I'm the band director at Ross Middle School in El Paso, Texas. I'm here today to help you get started with the all-region etudes for the trombone. Now these are the same etudes as for the baritone, but I'm going to be giving instructions with regard to the trombone. The first of these we're going to look at today, which is page 3 in B-flat major. We're going to play for the contest 3 lines of music. So go ahead and number your part if you haven't already. We've got 12 measures, number 1 through 12, and at the end of the 3rd line, that's where we stop. The goal tempo is 95, and that's quarter note equals 95. Okay? 95 means that's where you turn your metronome to. When you look at a brand new piece of paper, brand new sheet of music, you should look at the very first inch of the music to see what you can learn. This one says a la breve. A la breve is, in this case, it's going to be the feeling of the piece. What it means is cut time, but we're not going to play it in cut time because I just told you that we're going to put our metronome on quarter notes. Risoluto, we're going to play firmly and decisively. Okay? So we need to know the name of all these notes. If you're not familiar with the names of the notes up above the staff, it's time to learn them. You can look in the back of your band book and find most of these, except maybe this one. On the second line, there's one with 3 ledger lines. That one would be a G. And you may need to mark that one down. The way you finger that is a sharp second position. So it's not as far out as an E or an A. You bring it in just a little bit, and we call that a sharp second, and that's how you play your G. The articulation pattern, slur to, tongue to, the very last line, or the very first line, the last measure, slur to, tongue to, and that happens all through this piece. If you're not familiar with that articulation pattern, you will be by the time you learn this, slur to, tongue to. And for the trombone, we almost always are going to have to put an articulation of a little bit on that second note of a slur. Slur, slur-da, ta-da, ta-da, ti-ti. That's the way I would do those. If you have a straight trombone, this etude is going to be a little bit more challenging to you because there's some low notes and there's some times where you're going to have to do a lot of traveling. You can do it, but it's just a little bit more tricky. We'll talk about that as we go into it. So if possible, try to get a trombone with a trigger, or maybe see if your teacher can get you a trombone with a trigger so that you can play this etude a little more smoothly. So here's the first line, counting at 60. Take 2, take 4, take 2, take 4, take 1, take 2, take 3, take 4, take 1, take 2, take 3. That's the first line at 60 beats on the metronome. Second line, a lot of the notes, a lot of the measures start on that beat. Take 2, take 4, take 2, take 4, take 2, take 3, take 4, take 1, take 2, take 3. And make sure you get that G in sharp second position. Okay? Here is the second line. 2, 3, 4. Here's the third line. Notice my slur to, tongue to happens in every measure on this line. Ready? Go. And we stop. If you do not have a trigger, you've got to do some traveling, and it'll be really important to re-articulate that low F. Otherwise, you'll get a smear, and we don't want a smear. The low F would be in 6. So you don't want to have, we want, now, since you're in 6 for that C, you might be tempted to play the F also in 6, because that's kind of a neat trick. But don't do it here, because you bring it all the way in, there's time to do it, bring it all the way in, it'll be a better tune than to try to find that. And the reason is you have to stay on it for 2 beats and another half of a beat. So you don't want to be on a note that's out of tune or shaky on its tuning for that long. So go ahead and go all the way back up to 1 before you camp out on that F. All right? On the 3rd line, if you don't have a trigger, you'll have to just move quickly in and out, and it's going to be kind of tricky to go 1 to 6 and then 2 to 6. But you can get a real good slur that way. Okay, so there is the first etude at the slower tempo. Second line, softer. Third line. Okay. So there is the medium practice tempo. Practice slow. When you get to slow, when you can do it perfectly, move up to a medium tempo at 75, and after you can do each of those sections perfectly, let's go ahead and bump it up to 95. That's our performance tempo. Make sure your staccato notes are lightly tongued and a little bit separate. Slur to tongue to dee da dee 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 da dee dee. Okay. Here is the entire etude at 95. 3, 4. And there is etude number 1 for the all-region audition on the trombone. Happy practicing.